guys, welcome to the Future Drive Academy. If you're returning Sabi, welcome back, and if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button to join the online academy. This is a space for education, empowerment, exchange, engagement, and everything academics. So in today's video, we're gonna work through another exam type problem on trigonometry, but before we do it together, pause and try it. Alright, let's do this question together. So in the first question, it says the diagram below where P, so P is there, is X and 24, is a point such that OP is equal to 25. So that means that that whole length is equal to 25. And ROP, where's R? ROP is equal to beta, where beta is an obtuse angle. Great. So that's what we know so far. They want us to calculate the value of X. All right. So to calculate the value of X, let's redraw this diagram. So we're just going to redraw it where there we have your P, you have your O there, and there you have your beta. You have 90. They told you that that entire angle there, sorry, that entire length is 25. And you have X and you have 24. Right, that's what we know for now. So for 5.1.1, this is where we're going to calculate the value for X. We know that R squared is equal to X squared plus Y squared. This is a theorem of Pythagoras that we can use to find the missing side of a right angle triangle. Your R is 25. Your X, that's what you're looking for. Your Y is 24. Right, that's what we have for now. Let's simplify. That means that we're going to have X squared. 25 squared is 625 minus 576. So we're going to square that. Remember, the square root gives you two solutions, but because our equation is in the second quadrant, and in the second quadrant X is negative, that means that your final answer will be -7. Right, so we go back there to erase to say that no, our X is -7. That's your final answer. For 5.1.2, we'll still use our diagram from the previous question to answer those questions. So A is a sine of beta. So remember, sine of beta, it is opposite over hypotenuse, right? That is the ratio for sine. So that means that if beta there is our reference angle, what is the opposite of that angle? The opposite side of that angle is 24 and your hypotenuse is 25. So that means that the sine of beta will be 24 over 25. For B, where we have cos 180 minus beta, we're going to use the reduction formula. Cos 180 minus beta lies in the second quadrant. In the second quadrant, cos is negative. So since cos is negative in the second quadrant, that means that our answer will be negative cos of beta. And if you want to know how we ended up with negative cos of beta, if you want background on trigonometric basics, please drop down a comment so that I can be able to see the stats and then make a video, depending on how many people need help in terms of all the notes on trig background. All right, now continuing the question. Cos of beta, how do you define cos of beta? So that is our beta angle there. Remember, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So what if that is our reference angle? Our adjacent side is -7 and our hypotenuse side is your 25. So we now come down to say, oh, okay, our cos will be negative. So we said it's going to be negative 7 over 25. And that gives you positive 7 over 25. That's your final answer for B. Now going to C, so let's say we must look for tan of beta. Out of the negative angles, the only one that will remain positive is cos, but your sine and your tan, they will be negative. Meaning that if we were to simplify that, we'll have negative tan of beta, right? How do we define that? We know that tan, it is opposite over adjacent. And our opposite side, if that is our reference angle, it is 24, and our adjacent side is 7. So that means that our final answer will be negative 24 divided by negative 7. This will give you 24 over 7, which is your final answer. All right, now going to the next question, 5.1.3. The question says T is a point on OP. So T is a point on OP such that OT is equal to 15. So we have to highlight that. That is our T. So that side there will be 15. You can even create a new triangle because it's basically a new triangle. Determine the coordinates of T without using a calculator. So the coordinates of T will be those coordinates there. Right. So now we're looking at these two triangles, the bigger triangle and the smaller triangle. They have common angles, right? They have a common angle, which is beta. And how do you determine beta? You can determine beta in 3 ways, right? So the first way, you can say sine of beta is equal to, remember the opposite, which is 24 over 25. You can say cos of beta is equal to negative 7 over 25. You can also say tan of beta is equal to 24 over negative 7. Right, so those are the 3 different ways in which you can define beta on the bigger triangle. So now going to the smaller triangle, what do we know there? We know that our hypotenuse is 15. What are we looking for? We're looking for T, which is X and Y. We don't know those coordinates. That's what we're trying to find. So that means that we have to define our equation. So defining our equation, we know that we can use any of the trigonometric ratios that we have above here to define, right? Because we know that, oh, okay, using the smaller triangle, so let me just say smaller triangle, we can say that we know that if I want to find my y, which is sine of beta is equal to, so it's gonna be y over OT, which is your hypotenuse, right? And you know the values there, so we're just gonna substitute in. So it's gonna be y over 15. But remember, the bigger triangle and the smaller triangle, they share an angle beta, meaning that they have a common angle, which is beta. So that means that for the smaller triangle, we can replace what we said, let sine beta be equal to on the bigger triangle, which means we're going to have 24 over 25, which is equal to y over 15. So in this case, we can be able to find the coordinate of y. So we're going to divide everything by 15 to multiply. So that means that we're going to have y is equal to 24 times 15 over 25. So that means that y is equal to 72 over 5, which is 14.4. And another thing to check if you have everything written correctly is to look at your equation, right? To look at your coordinate, meant to say. Looking at your coordinate, you have 14.4 there, and you know that with a bigger triangle your y value is 24, so you know that where t is below p, so definitely your t value for y must be less than whatever that you have there for p. So for t of x, how do we define? Again, we have cos of beta is equal to t of x over ot. We know that our ot is 15, so we're just going to substitute over 15, right? Cos of beta, how do we define cos of beta? Remember, the big triangle and the small triangle, they share a common angle, which is beta. So how did we define cos of beta? We defined it as negative 7 over 25, which will be equal to tx over 15. Then when you multiply both sides, it's going to be negative 7 times 15 over 25. Then working this out, you'll get negative 21 over 5. That means that your t is negative 21 over 5 and 72 over 5. These are your coordinates of t. Please comment down below how you're doing thus far. Did you manage to get all the questions above correctly? Where did you struggle? How do you need more help? How can I assist? Do you need a lesson on basics, background of trig? Please comment down below so that I can know who needs help where, so that I can be able to assist. Alright, going to 5.2, we have to determine the value of the following expression, right? So what do we have? So we have that we have 2 sine x cos x multiplied by 1 plus tan square x divided by tan x. We know that we have an identity, which is tan of x. Tan of x is equal to cos sine x divided by cos of x. So that's where we're going to start with our expression. We're going to change everything that is tan to be sine divided by cos. Alright, this is what we have so far. So how do we go about it? Let's remove whatever that we have there in our denominator, right? So by doing that, remember, we're dividing everything by sine x over cos x, so we can simplify that. So to simplify that, that means that we're going to have 1 plus sine square x over cos square x times, so when you multiply it, you're gonna switch your denominator and numerator, so it's gonna be cos of x divided by sine of x. Then this sign there will cancel out whatever sign that you have there. Your final answer will be cos times cos is gonna be cos square x 1 plus sine square x over cos square x. Right, so now we can multiply in the cos. So multiplying in the cos, it's gonna be plus sine square x cos square x divided by cos square x. So the cos's there, they're going to cancel out. So when they cancel out, what are you going to be left with? They're going to be left with 2 cos square x plus sine square x. Right. Cos square x plus sine square x is an identity that is equal to 1. So that means that you're going to have 2 and you put 1 there. So your final answer is 2. Thank you guys for watching. I hope today's video helped you. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe and join the online academy.